Yo, guys, it is your boy Bernard. Bear with me, I am old and washed. Welcome to another episode of the Blerd podcast, where I'll be discussing everything nerdy that has caught my eye this week. I'm gonna eat this banana because I just got back from playing kickball, like I told y'all last week. My team won. Sorry, Jared. Should have made me co-captain. That's all I got to say about that. I just got home and I'm tired and sore. So, first thing first, I unfortunately have to give a rest in peace to Gerry Conway. Gerry Conway was a comic book writer, editor, and he also wrote sci-fi. He also was a screenwriter, television writer, and producer. Created a lot of characters that we know in Marvel and DC. Co-created the Punisher, co-created the guy who is one of my favorite clones of all time, Ben Reilly. He created the Jackal, the person responsible for Ben Reilly, and co-created Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. Back in the day, she was Miss Marvel. Most notable comic book story arc that he wrote, the night Gwen Stacy died. So he is the one who killed Gwen Stacy, if you did not know. Also co-created a lot of people at DC. Killer Croc. He created Power Girl. Jason Todd. He wrote Justice League of America for 8 years. He also wrote the first crossover for Marvel and DC, which was Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man, the Battle of the Century. And that came out in March 1976. Just got a 50-year reprint for the anniversary of it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he wrote for Atlas, DC, Disney, Eclipse, First Comics, Marvel, Paper Cuts, Skywall Productions, Topps Comics, something called Warren Productions. He worked on the Transformers animated series, G.I. Joe, The Real American Hero, My Little Pony, Father Downing Mysteries. That sounds vaguely familiar, but it was on when I was a kid. Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, Law and Order. What is The Huntress? I don't know what that is, but it sounds vaguely familiar. Batman the Animated Series, Perry Mason, Matlock, Law and Order, Criminal Intent. Looks like that was his last writing credit as far as television goes. He worked on that from 2003 to 2006. But yeah, gotta give a rest in peace to him. He passed away. Where is his cause of death? Pancreatic cancer on April 26th at the age of 73 years old. Yeah. Another one, Roger Sweet, passed away at the age of 91 on April 28th, and he is mainly known for being the creator of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe toy line. So apparently he went to the Miami University, which is weird because I saw that and I was like, oh, he went to school in Florida. No, Miami University is in Oxford, Ohio. So yeah. He also went to the Institute of Design at Illinois Tech. But yeah, he worked on products for Boeing, Rubbermaid, Hoover, and Procter & Gamble. And also was responsible for the packaging of like Downy fabric softener and Scope. But yeah, so we mainly know him for being the creator of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So yeah, he passed away from dementia at the age of 91, like I said. So I really hope Amazon MGM let him see the movie that's coming out this summer. If not, that would be messed up. Or Mattel or somebody, because is He-Man Mattel or is it Hasbro? I can't remember. I'm looking this up real quick because that's going to be one of those things that annoys me. Who owns the rights to He-Man? Here we go. Masters of the Universe. Mattel. Okay, I was right. All right. So yeah, rest in peace to Roger Sweet and Gerry Conway. All right, so my next story is good news, and we have to give a congratulations to Sam Neill. If you don't know who Sam Neill is, why do you not know who Sam Neill is? He played Dr. Alan Grant in Jurassic Park. He was in Event Horizon. What else? Bicentennial Man, The Zookeeper, Wimbledon. I'm just naming movies I saw him in. Iron Road, Daybreakers, although that movie is horrible. Mind Games. He was in Thor Ragnarok. He played the actor of Odin. He was in Peter Rabbit. I watched that with this one girl I was seeing. Mainly known for Jurassic Park. He made the announcement that he is cancer-free after battling 5 years with blood cancer. So he made it. Basically said it's time I did another movie. And coincidentally, he filmed a movie during this. He's got a movie coming out. Don't know when yet, but it's called The Last Resort. It stars him, Daisy Ridley, Alden Ehrenreich, Tia Carrere. Ooh, Tia Carrere. I ain't seen you in a minute. Beck Bennett, and Vondi Curtis Hall. Those are the only people I know. I don't know who Ruben Maria Enriquez is, but yeah, so congratulations to Sam Neill. All right, so James Gunn hopped on his favorite social media site, and that was Threads. And he more or less gave an update on the DCU. So he hopped on Threads and basically said that the Authority movie is on hold because the said like the script wasn't working or something like that. He also confirmed that Booster Gold is still in development. Paradise Lost, which is the Themyscira Amazon series, is still in extreme development. So yeah, I really don't know how the Authority would have worked per se because of introducing the Engineer as a villain, and the Engineer is a part of the Authority. Unless like they flipped it on this head and made them villains. I don't know. So yeah, there's that. Alright, my next story is in regards to a comic book cartoon movie that was popular between like the 60s, the 90s, and the early 2000s. Disney is going to bring it back. I'm like, why are y'all doing this? So Deadline reported that Disney is doing a live action Casper the Friendly Ghost series. For Disney Plus, it's going to be produced by Steven Spielberg and Rob Letterman and Hillary Winston, who were the showrunners on the Goosebumps series. So yeah, there are no details yet, but it has been described as a modern update on the classic ghost story, believed to have a dark edge to the way Wednesday tackles the Addams Family lore. So, I mean, would you consider the movie with Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman dark? I mean, it's a little dark. I mean, Pullman died. Spoiler alert for a 31-year-old movie. But I'll keep an eye out for it. And hopefully it's good. But it's Casper, so, you know. If you like it, cool. If you don't. Alright. So this was some news that came out earlier this week. And Sony kind of had to backpedal what was going on. So apparently there was supposed to be a new update for the PS4 and the PS5. Who own digital games? Not me. That's a cool holiday. Really wish I had one to display. So it was basically saying that, hey, if you buy a game digitally, you need to be connected to the internet at least every 30 days so the license can still be valid. Because if you go offline, your license will be invalid and you will not be able to play the game. I saw that, I'm like, so now y'all trying to tell people what they can do with their own games that they bought their hard-earned money. And I believe this was like for any games after that were released after March of 2026. But Sony was like, no, wait. So, no, this is not the deal with this. They basically said that players can continue to access the game and play it as usual. A one-time online check is required to confirm the game's license, after which no further check-ins are required. I'm like, for how long though? Because y'all saying that now, but there might be an update where, if you bought this game digitally, like your license isn't valid. And I really do feel like that was a thing for digital games for like the longest. With like, I think I can't remember. It was a PS4 game I had. Might have been Mutants in Manhattan, but it said that my license wasn't valid or something like that. But I don't know. Maybe it was because it wasn't Mutants in Manhattan because I can still play that on my PS4. Might have been the Turtles in Time reshelled because Konami lost the rights to Ninja Turtles games. Well, I don't know. I'm just like, it's why it's best to own your games. Because I own that disc. I can play what's installed on that disc. But if you're going to say, hey, your license is invalid, how? I own the game. You can't take that from me. I still play games that licenses were were revoked just because the company lost the license. Like, Activision hasn't had the rights to Spider-Man since like 2015. If I wanted to, I can go get the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Pull out my PS3. I can go play Spider-Man at a time. Web of Shadows, which I'm really struggling to get right now. I really want to play that game. I just bought Spider-Man 3, the movie tie-in, for my PS3, which I might stream. I don't know yet. Definitely going to be streaming Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2. But yeah. Next story is in regards to one of the shows that everybody loves, Invincible. They have they have confirmed that they will be returning for season 5. Should be sometime in 2027. They said that voice acting is complete. They also said that Thrag will be back. Dinosaurs will also be back. Conquest will not be back. So there you guys go. We now have confirmation that Conquest is dead. Don't remember if he's dead after being choked out in the comics. I don't know. I'm going to have to do a deep dive on that as far as comic stuff goes. All right. So in the world of DC TV, I should have actually bundled this with the James Gunn stuff. Lanterns now has a release date. A lot of people were freaking out because they pulled the trailer off of YouTube and they were like, oh, so we're just burying the show? No, apparently there was some copyrighted music and they had to basically recut the trailer with some instrumental of a Bruce Springsteen song or something. But when they did that, they updated it with an actual release date. So now it will be airing on August 16th on HBO and possibly the next day on HBO Max, maybe the same day. It's sometimes tricky with those HBO shows, like, well, not even HBO, but like the Cartoon Network and stuff. It's usually the next day, which is actually what I'm about to get into now. My Adventures with Superman finally has a release date for season 3, and that will be June 13th on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and then the next day on HBO Max. So the plan is I'm going to try to review this season of My Adventures with Superman, and they actually put out a teaser image of Cyborg Superman, but for some reason he has an L where the S should be. So is Lex Luthor responsible for making a Cyborg Superman? Because they did tease Lex as like the big bad coming up for this season. So I don't know. Really hope it's good. All right, my next story is in regards to IMAX versus Disney. So I think it was last week, I told you guys about Disney's Infinity Vision. So the CFO of IMAX, whose name is not included in this story, said that Infinity Vision is basically a marketing ploy. He said, from our view, it feels like it's a marketing ploy to try to offset the fact that they don't have an IMAX platform for Avengers Doomsday. So, shots fired. Josh Shapiro? I can't remember, the guy who's in charge of Disney now, has not yet refuted that comment. But it's not like Disney is going to be restructuring a lot of theaters for their Infinity Vision. So I'm just like, make this make sense Because are you going to take those not really IMAX screens, like the theater in Boynton or in Delray that say they're IMAX, but they're IMAX light, basically? I don't know. We need more information on this Infinity Vision stuff. But I'm gonna take a break. Y'all can listen to this W ad. I'm gonna go get a water because I am out of W besides the s'mores, and I don't feel like drinking any milk right now. So I'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Dubby. Dubby gives you focus and energy without the crash and jitters. It has no sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes. Mix one packet or scoop into 8 or 12 ounces of water. Stir or shake well. Some powderiness is normal, and it has all the important vitamins. So this has vitamin C, B3, B6, and B12. And it's made from coffee fruit extract. So drink it and go conquer a task. And go to debbie.gg and use my promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's debbie.gg with promo code AngryBlerd10. All right, I am back. Oh, my neck. I gotta lay back like that. Oh, God. All right, you know how you know when you wash, when you get up and you get dizzy? That was me after volleyball. Still won, though. Don't care. All right, my next story shouldn't even be said, but hey, my shoes are done. Rockstar decided to come out and say that Grand Theft Auto 6 will not have any brand product placement. I'm like, did y'all mean to say that? It's a fictional world and everything in it is fictional. So they said, so we're not even at the risk of doing brand partnerships, all because all the brands are made up, and I think that keeps us pure. Yeah, until like Grand Theft Auto 8 and y'all got to deal with Coca-Cola or something like that. I'm gonna shave this beard because it ain't growing. I've been growing this out for like what, 2.5, 3 months, something like that. It's not going anywhere. I have slow growing hair. I haven't had a haircut in a month. Like you really couldn't tell, like unless you like looked at my edges, which are slowly starting to grow out. So next week, it will just be the goatee, guys. I know some of y'all are like, who cares about your fucking face? We're not watching. We're just listening. All right, so the Resident Evil trailer dropped, and it looks good to me. A lot of people were complaining because it's not the game shot for shot. And Zach Kreger decided to speak on that. He's like, why would I try my best to remake the game? The best I can do is tell a story within the universe of the game. So he said, there's kind of no winning if I were to tell Leon's story because the games do such a great job and it would just be redundant and disappointing. So the game takes place in Raccoon City during the same time as Resident Evil 2, the game. So it said that it's also filmed from the point of view from a normal guy, including first-person shooter, action plus violent shots over his shoulder, which, you know, they didn't show that in the trailer, so I can't wait to see that. And there are many Easter eggs in the game, including weapon progression and creature mechanics. So I wonder if they actually built like monsters or zombies, whatever you want to call them, infected, blah, 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 for the set, or because I've talked about Constantine Film being a part of this. I believe they are responsible for the visual effects for pretty much every single Resident Evil movie. And I was excited for Welcome to Raccoon City, but then I saw the CGI. I was like, this looks like 10 pounds of ass. And I was really excited because Robbie Amell, who, you know, was on the Tomorrow People on the CW, that got canceled. Then, you know, he was cast as Firestorm on The Flash, and they 86 him, and, you know, he's got Code 8 and everything, and he had Upload on Prime. I just want my boy Robbie to win. I just want Robbie to win. That might be the name of the episode. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to type that down before I forget, because sometimes I say these titles and then I forget to type them, and then I forget what the hell I said. Okay, so I don't really have any more talking. It's been a slow news week. I was going to review Stranger Things Tales from '85, but honestly, in my opinion, I just don't find the show to be that entertaining. I watched like the first 5 episodes, and they are clearly missing something besides, you know, actually having the cast come back and reprise their roles. They just got a bunch of sound alikes. And the concept of it taking place in between seasons 2 and 3, I just, huh? I I get what the Duffers were doing. They were like, we want to replicate these Saturday morning cartoons that we grew up on. So it's like rated G. Like none of the kids are gonna curse. There's barely any blood in it besides like 11 when she uses her telepathy and she gets her regular nosebleeds. And then we got this new kid Nikki who just comes out of nowhere. It's like what happened to Nikki and her family? Like Nikki was not like in seasons 3 through 5. So unless she moves, like because they also renewed this for a second season, by the way, so that will be coming out in the fall. I'm probably going to watch the last 5 episodes, but I'm not really feeling it at all. So y'all can watch it if you want to. I really can't even grade it, in all honesty, but I'm not a fan of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and cue up the spoiler alert, and I'm going to talk about season 5, episode 5 of The Boys, which was titled One Shots, which was directed by Phil Segresi and written by Jetalinda Nera. So everybody's hyped up over this episode. I like aspects of it. Also, I gotta give it rest in peace. It just came out. To Mr. Bentley the Bulldog, who is Chopper, who was in this episode, who got a one shot. Apparently, he passed away last year, and Prime Video, Amazon, MGM, whatever you want to say, revealed that he passed away after the episode aired. So it's like, why didn't y'all tell us this last year? I hate when that happens. So we get a Black Noir story, a Firecracker story, Soldier Boy, and Terror. So I'm going to start with Firecracker first. You know what? I'm going to say Firecracker for last because she starts the episode and she ends the episode. So, and Sister Sage. So there is a meeting with the remaining 7. And Sister Sage is telling them where they could possibly find a lead on. I'm sorry, not Sister Sage. Sage has a meeting. I don't remember in regards to what, but she has a meeting with Ashley later on in the episode, and she basically says, "Yeah, sure, I want Homelander to find the Compound V, but I also want there to be full total chaos blown out, just so I can sit in my bunker in peace and read my books." So she tells this to Ashley and Bashley, which I guess that's what they call. I don't know if it's a tumor. It's the second head, basically. And I'm like, I don't really see the vision for that, but okay. So Soldier Boy's story is him and Homelander. They basically double team Stan Edgar to find out where some where some V1 might be. And they go to Mr. Marathon, who was the speedster on the team before A-Train beat him in a race because he was no longer the fastest man alive. Found out that Mr. Marathon is a big Soldier Boy fan. Basically has a shrine to him, along with some Diddy baby oil. And he has over Seth Rogen, Kumail Nanjiani, Will Forte. Who was the last person? Nanjiani, Will Forte. I think who's the last person? Two people. Christopher Mintz-Plasse, y'all might know him as McLovin because y'all don't read credits. And Craig Robinson. They all play fictional versions of themselves, and you find out that also Misha Collins and obviously Jared Padalecki is Mr. Marathon. Mr. Marathon actually sets Homelander up after Misha Collins' character Mal Chemical knocks him out, and they try to convince Soldier Boy to kill him. And Soldier Boy's like, nah, he's my son. If anybody's gonna fucking kill him, it's gonna be me or some shit like that. So Soldier Boy turns on Mal Chemical, kills him, tries to kill Mr. Marathon, but he is a speedster, so he gets away, and he runs through basically all of his friends. Runs through Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Will Forte. I think Will Forte was the first. Runs through Craig Robinson and Kumail Nanjiani. Eventually runs into Seth Rogen and basically rips him in half. And I believe Mr. Marathon snapped his neck. And then Soldier Boy tricks Mr. Miracle into running after him after he puts some baby oil on the floor. And Soldier Boy breaks his legs and interrogates him on, where they can find Bomb Site, because the rumor is Bomb Site has Compound V and Mr. Miracle is dealing drugs on the side. But Mr. Marathon reveals that he hasn't seen Bomb Site in 5 years, and Homelander eventually wakes up, doesn't like the news of that, and brushes his face. So yeah. So they're back at square one. So Black Noir's story, he is going through an identity crisis while he's trying to balance, being Black Noir's 7 and doing his local theater. He is still pissed at the Deep for, knocking him out and basically taking all the credit for catching Stan Edgar. So when they're doing their podcast, which the name of it I am lost on at the moment, he starts speaking while Oldfather is there. And he's like, nah, fuck you, whatever. You're trying to take all the credit for the shit and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to do my own thing, basically. So you actually find out that Adam Bork, who is returning, he's basically like the Zack Snyder of the Vought universe because he did the Dawn of the Seven movie, has been reduced to doing local theaters. And, they're excited about taking the play on the road and whatnot. But the Deep has other plans for Noir and his theatrical side gig. He sends an eel up a toilet to eat Adam Bork's ass to take control over him. All right. Terror. Terror, basically, his story is he is looking at the boys, basically Splinter. And, Terror's was okay. It was a little heartfelt and whatnot. But the boys all eventually get back together after Terror eats some chocolate that Frenchie made a chocolate mousse for Kimiko, which he burned and threw it in the trash. And then Terror got to it, and Huey and Butcher are kind of beefing, and then Huey gets some Barox out there, induced vomiting for Terror. They kind of have their heart to heart, and boy, like the stuff they got Anthony Starr doing this season, I'm like, really? And he's like, you want a steak or do you want to fuck me? Because Butcher got Terror that Homelander plush, which he just fucks the shit out of. So yeah, that was a very good thing. But rest in peace to Mr. Bentley, the bulldog. Firecracker. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So Firecracker is asked by her former reverend to help after his church got vandalized, but she can't help because she's busy making the Democratic Church of America. And the church eventually gets raided, and she gives a fake report on what happened, basically says that he's a pedophile and whatnot. So she is starting to fall apart at the cracks. And then Homelander shows up, doubting her belief in him. And he basically kicked her off the team, and he gave her an out, man. Gave her an out, and she didn't take it. She still tried to double sides it, like, you're God, you, and she called him a man, as opposed to basically saying, he was a god or whatever, and he didn't like that, and so, he killed her. Literally impaled her head on a statue of a bald eagle. So I was like, okay, man, you had the chance to leave. And that also might be the name of the episode. It's like, yo, how dumb are you? You should have left. But like I said, it was a good episode. It had its ups and downs. Like the bit of Mr. Marathon running through like all the celebrities who basically played themselves. It got a little old after the second time, because he did it like twice after that, because he ran through Forte, he ran through Kamal Nanjiani and Christopher Mintz-Plasse, then he ran through not Seth Rogen, he ran through Craig Robinson and basically ran through Seth Rogen. Also, Vought News has confirmed that Seth Rogen is unable to return for season 5 of Invincible to reprise his voice as Alan the alien due to the trauma that he suffered at Mr. Marathon's house. All right, I'm gonna talk about Daredevil Born Again. So we got season 2, episode 7, The Hateful Darkness. This is directed by Ian B. McDonald, and written by Heather Belson. So, very good episode. Jessica Jones confronts Mr. Charles about the attack on her house, and she learns that Luke is working for the CIA overseas. He also told Jessica that Fisk intends to kill Governor McCaffrey because she is threatening to revoke licenses, revoke permission to use the dock and Red Hook, which Fisk has been manipulating to run guns and just make more money. Jessica tells Matt about it, and we cut to the jail that Jessica was put in, and Wilson shows up to confront her about everything, about all the way from killing Wesley to whatnot. Matt also shows up, and we get the one and only Brett Mahoney coming back for one episode. Matt tells Karen that he has a plan, since cameras are going to be running at her trial. So he shows up as a guest attorney. He'd been in hiding all this time. So, so her trial starts, but they also attack the ABTF's integrity, due to the fact that they don't have body cams. Obviously, Officer Powell killed a fellow officer, started a riot, basically. So they didn't like that. So after court, Cherry is there. He tries to escort Kirsten and Matt out. They come and try to shoot up the place. Matt gets shot. Kirsten gets away. Later on, Heather shows up to do her psyche dial of Karen, and that goes a whole lot of the way left. So, because it is clear that Karen is fucking mad, he just left Heather high and dry, and Heather slaps her around a bit. And I'm like, ooh, Heather, you getting a little frisky there, don't you think? Dex, who got uncuffed by Matt, who is still trying to do his one good deed. Matt sends him to protect the governor because this wants to kill the governor, so she won't revoke the status of the port. So Fisk sends an assassin. Dex kills him, gives a salute, and just walks off. He did his one good deed, so we might not be seeing any more Bullseye. Daniel and BB go to a supposed safe house where Buck is waiting for BB so he can kill her. And Daniel almost goes through with it, but he gives BB a phone, tells her not to tell him where she's going. He goes up. He kind of plays dumb. Buck beats his ass and then shoots him. So yeah, I liked Daniel as a character, but you could tell he was starting to get in a little bit too deep, especially after that last episode, because him and Buck buried a body upstate. So yeah, he died, and BB is out in the wind. Who knows if she's going to be doing any more of those Fisk propaganda videos? We got one more episode left, and before I get into my review of Michael, I want to talk about Daredevil as a whole because y'all are not watching the show. Apparently, there has been a 40% drop through a streaming service called Luminate. It said through the first 5 episodes of Daredevil of each season, Daredevil Born Again season 2 has accumulated 4,515,000 views, 10,867,000 hours watched, and 652 million minutes watched. Season 1 tracked across the same 5-week window, generating 8,357,000 season views, 24 million hours watched, and 1,444,000 minutes watched. So yeah, this represents a decline of approximately 46% in total views and over 54% in total hours watched. So I just had this discussion on this podcast and with my friend Gerry, which brought it up to the podcast. If you do not watch a show in real time, that doesn't help the show. I know Netflix has spoiled you motherfuckers by binging shit, but you have to stop binging shows if you want them to be renewed. Like, it's a good thing that Daredevil Born Again was already renewed, but they might look at these numbers for this season and the numbers for next season and be like, you know what? People ain't feeling this, so we're just going to cancel it after season 3. So I implore you, watch the show within the week of its airing. Show drops on what? Tuesdays. So you have from Tuesday to Monday to watch the show to help get the numbers up. So the finale, y'all better be locked the fuck in. Okay? That's all I got to say about that. My last story is in regards to, Michael. This is a movie directed by Antoine Fuqua, who directed Training Day, right? Directed Training Day. The Replacement Killers, written by John Logan. This is starring Jafar Jackson, Nia Long, Laura Harrier, Jessica Sula, Coleman Domingo, Mike Myers, and Miles Teller. I had no idea Mike Myers was in this movie until I watched it. Also, Juliana Valdi and Kaylin Durrell Jones. That name looks familiar. I'm trying to picture a face. Oh, okay, he was the guy who played Bill. I don't see Training Day on it here. He did. Oh yeah, he did do Training Day. I'm not tripping. He also did the Equalizer movies. So, movie is pretty cut and simple. Joe Jackson in 1966 gets his kids all together. Y'all gonna be a band. He basically turned into the coach from Drumline. It's like one band, one sound. You put your arms out, so on and so forth. And that's how you reach out to the audience, but you can't touch the wall, so on and so forth. Michael only got 2 beatings in this movie. I saw a lot of people complaining that wasn't enough beatings. It's like, yo, what type of masochists are y'all that y'all want to see a kid actor playing Michael Jackson get his ass beat? Yes, I know Joe beat the shit out of them kids, but you really need to see it? Anyway, the Jacksons blow up. They get the deal with Barry Gordon, and you see that Barry Gordon is taking a shine into Michael, and he's doing his best to protect Michael from Joe. Like Joe was like, yo, I need 5 minutes with him because he keep on dancing during this recording of ABC, and Barry's like, nah, give him a minute, bro. Joe was about to beat his ass, and he ain't blind. So we get like a good 20 minutes of Jackson 5 stuff, and then we jump to 1978, where Michael has signed with Epic Records and wants to release his first solo album, Off the Wall. And he is afraid to tell Joe. He wants to do it, but Joe Jackson, So he has 2 agents from Epic go tell Joe about it. And, yeah, he can do it, but he got to do it after hours. And they're like, what do you mean? From 9 to 5, his ass is mine. Anything from after that, go on and do it. Records the album, comes to success. Michael is obviously dealing with his vitiligo, which they didn't really touch on. So, like I said, when I'm done with all that, I'm gonna get into that. So they go on tour for Triumph, the Jackson album, in like '81. So after that, Michael gets his nose surgery to make his nose smaller, and then after an argument with Joseph, Michael gets representation to make his own path. So he hires John Branca as his attorney. And this was the funniest part of the movie. They fired Joe via fax. Like, that man was fixated on that for the 3 scenes about that, holding that paper. Like, the boy fired me. And so Michael is visiting children's hospitals and, also working on his next solo album. And fun fact, after, the first Crips and Blood shootout, Michael actually, got the gangs together for a brief moment of peace, and they appeared in the Beat It video. So, Michael's working on Thriller, and we get the Motown '85 where he did the moonwalk for the first time, and Michael and his manager, John Branca, they go over to CBS Records, which was part of Epic at the time. and they get Walter Yedinoff to get MTV to play Michael's music videos, because if you don't know your music history, back in the 80s, MTV only played white music videos. Like literally, Billie Jean was the first video to air on MTV by a black artist. So then, Thriller comes out, obviously highest selling album of all time, even still to this day. Joe meets with Don King to get a Jackson reunion tour, and this leads to the Victory Tour. But Don King also is like, I'm not putting my money in this unless Michael is definitely in. And Joe basically kind of strong arms Michael into doing the tour. And then, we get the Pepsi incident with the Pepsi commercial where Michael's hair caught on fire and he got third-degree burns and nerve damage. Also, a little fun fact, if you didn't know, Michael was in constant pain after that. So that's where the pain medication addiction started. He's actually talked about it in several songs. I highly recommend you listen to Morphine on the Blood on the Dance Floor History in the Mix remix album that came out after History. And so he gives the money from his lawsuit to the burn victims of the hospital he's at. He also gets Bubbles. So he eventually does the tour, the Victory Tour. And, that was when he made the announcement that this is the last time that him and his brothers are going to perform together. And Michael goes out on his own, and then that leads us into 1988, where he performed the Bad Tour at Wembley Stadium. And that's where the movie ends. So, thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but I do have notes. I knew this was a biography that you can't cramp everything into. So, especially if it's like Michael Jackson, because the man has been active since the 60s. Like Jackson 5, the Jackson solo stuff. They didn't touch on his solo albums that he did as a child, like Music and Me with Ben on it. But no, I really wish we would have gotten more Jackson 5 stuff like Young Michael. I don't know how much of that was left on the cutting room floor. We all know the issue with this movie. Well, the third act had to be reshot, and that added more to the budget. I really wish they would have went more into the history of Michael as a musical titan. So for those of you who do not know, at the time of Michael Jackson's passing, he owned half of Sony's catalog. And he made that decision in 1984. It was either 81 or 84. I can't remember the year. It was definitely in the early 80s. He bought the ATV catalog after having dinner with Paul McCartney and his wife. And Paul was talking to Michael about publishing. So the urban legend is Paul got sideswiped by Michael because ATV owned the Beatles catalog. But no, that's not what happened. So apparently Michael said, wouldn't it be funny if I bought your catalog? And Paul was like, ha ha ha. So when ATV went up for sale, Paul had first bidding. I don't think he had the money for it. So Michael bought it. So Michael owned a shit ton of catalog. Let me see if I can even find out whose catalog ATV was. All right. Says the Beatles, obviously. It does not give me like a breakdown of ATV's catalog because it just redirects to Sony Music. Don't you just love when that happens? But yeah, he actually bought it in 1981. Yeah, so he bought it. He actually bought it in September 1984. Michael had the dinner with Paul McCartney in 1981. So yeah, Michael owned a shit ton of Sony's publishing, and they actually offered him $110 million in '95, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good, bro." So I don't know who has that now. Hopefully, the estate still has it, and they didn't sell it. But those are the things I would have liked to see in this movie. all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long, I want to say. Uh, it's just one of those movies like you want to just sit down, lock in, and watch everything. And that's what I did. Um, we know Janet wasn't in the movie, but Latoya was there. She didn't really do much besides, open Michael's fan mail with them and, almost get eaten by a pet snake. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but I'm going to have to give it an 8. I get that this is going to be possibly 3 movies, but I've seen, I don't want to say better biopics, but I've seen biopics that made me more satisfied with the end result, like Better Man, which was a movie that none of y'all saw because it didn't make any money. Rocket Man, I believe, was a successful movie, but I mean, how many of y'all really checking for Elton John? Like, I'm a big Elton John fan. Like, I tell the story to this day about the first time I heard that Elton John to the best of my recollection. And I'll tell it now because I'm wrapping up the podcast. This was like 1996. As a matter of fact, time out. I'm gonna get my Elton John in my movie. So yeah, I own Rocket Man. And I own his autobiography, Me. And if you have the audiobook, this is narrated by Taron Egerton, who played Elton John in Rocket Man. So, anyway, yeah, like, I want to say like maybe 93, 94. As a matter of fact, I probably tell you when this actually happened. Because the way my brain works, was it 96? Okay, I guess it had to be 96, because, when did Older come out? Okay, so 96 is definitely okay. So 96, I was 10 before I moved. But I remember my aunt had the George Michael CD Older, so that's just how I can associate all this stuff. So we went to Sam's Club, and this is a dead property now at this point. Disney used to have a magazine that you can find in the store. It's called Disney Adventures. It was a digest magazine. And I remember hearing Tiny Dancer as I was reading about, I want to say season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This season, where does that appear? Because the story was about Lord Zed's first appearance. Okay, so season 2. When the hell did Power Rangers start? 94, right? No, I want Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, not the movie. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers started in 93. Okay, so it had to be around season 2 then. So maybe George Michael wasn't playing. Maybe I'm just bleeding those together. But I remember reading this Disney Adventures magazine. It had everything in it, Darkwing Duck puzzles and whatnot. And I remember reading the story about Lord Zed, and I remember being terrified of Lord Zed. While Tiny Dancer by Elton John was playing in the background. And I remember that classic promo photo of Lord Zed. It was either a green, orange, or yellow background. He's just like this, and he's got his staff. I'm gonna see if I can actually find it so I can insert it. But yeah. So yeah, that's I love Rocket Man, and this was good too. But I really like to see more of the business side of Michael. So that, like I said, that's really my main issue. Oh, he did not have the staff, but yeah, it was a green background. I'm looking at it right now. I remember this. Yeah. But yeah, all right, guys. I got no more talking. I'm surprised I was able to milk those reviews for an additional 20-something minutes. But yeah, guys, it's your boy Bernard, aka the Scarlet Spider, Sword from Kickball. At least I won. That was another episode of the Angry Blerd podcast. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Go to w.gg. Use my promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. Here is the photo of all of us after Kickball. And I will catch y'all next week with the season finale of Daredevil Born Again. And what, episode 6 of The Boys? Yep. So yeah, that's it. Peace.